It's your girl, Candy with Kim, and I'm still reeling. I'm still pissed off about the whole thing with Charlemagne the God. One of my biggest things is, I'm all for everybody having a platform. As you can see, I use the platform. Roland Martin used the platform. We all use the platform. One of the things that helped President Obama get elected, and the young people and college people voted for him in big numbers, was using social media platform, and that was one of the first influential presidential campaigns that really embraced. That's how we even got the hashtag POTUS, was because of President Obama. So he really introduced and bought it through and bought politics through that particular medium and form of media. My problem is when you don't know, because social media doesn't weed out ignorance. And actually ignorance is a relative thing too, because people can say all kind of things on here. But when you are always talking about the people, and you're always acting as if you represent the people. But one thing I noticed about you, Charlemagne the God with the little G, you're always on the wrong side. You were one of the ones trying to come out sounding all sincere about Charlie Kirk. So who's funding you? Why were you being such a little sellout and a little wisp about that? You are very aggressive about our people and stuff. You got a lot to say. You had a lot to say against Kamala Harris and locking black men up. And, you guys were candid on there. That's why I'm not voting for nobody. You had one ignorant, I cannot even think of his name, because he is just that irrelevant to me that his name meant nothing, because he was talking loud, saying nothing, and talking about he wasn't going to vote and blah, blah, blah. And you all have influence, and people listen to you, bless their hearts. And you don't use your influence wisely, and I'm beginning to wonder who funds you, because you're always on the wrong side. You didn't need to come out and have any sympathy for Charlie Kirk. He had enough people. Where's your sympathy for the black woman, the most unprotected person in America, the black woman? Your mama's a black woman. Where was your sympathy there? The young lady that was on your radio show, they was like, you're right, because people have already gotten the bill. They always get the bill early. If you knew anything about anything, if common sense was common, you wouldn't have made the statements you made, because you would have understood that those go out. But that does not mean it is an exact thing, and that does not mean that has to happen now. We still had a fight. And that's what the Democrats was holding out for. If you're watching and you know anything about politics, you little idiot, you moron. And I'm calling names because I'm so frustrated. And I know that's not right, but it's a process of me dealing with the frustration. But I say it because the shock value of just how ignorant of what he is doing, that's what I want you to capture. That's what I hope to highlight. The ignorance and the moronic attitude he has. Because if you knew anything and you watched anything that this man is doing, his sole focus is geared toward undoing everything President Obama did. And some of you all are so, and I do mean some of you all in the black community are so ignorant, because there's been too many people that say he didn't do anything for black people. And between education and health care, and I could go on and on. If you don't see that, then something is wrong with you. Maybe, because y'all seem to understand the big, beautiful bill. When Trump talks about giving you $2,000 in tariffs, everybody gets excited when you don't realize he's taking your health care and the prices haven't gone up. Wasn't he the one that said, day one, prices come down? Well, guess what? We way past day one and we're bankrupt. And the whole goal, and that's the other thing. You're reporting and talking about the now, and you're saying everything so politically correct so that you don't get shut down. So who pays you? How we know you really for the black community? Because you're not representing us very well. You have a responsibility in the Black community, since you always want to talk about what everybody's doing, to have your facts together and step with facts. And when you get called out, shut your behind up and get an education and make sure you're right. Don't keep talking because you got a platform, and just because you have a lot of followers, that does not make you relevant. It does not make you right because you got a few dimes. You, Lil Puppy, Nick, Baby Mama Cannon, all of you ignorants that have all these platforms that have been walking around here talking loud and saying nothing, you need to shut up. And you need to humble yourselves if you're going to represent the Black community, like you say, and make sure that you understand what you're saying, because there are some people who believe you. Bless their hearts, because you don't know anything about most things, and you definitely don't know politics. And the worst part is that you're the real AI, arrogant and ignorant. Because instead of having beef with Roland Martin, you would be sitting down so you could learn. You are never too old to learn. That's why I say, when I say not our ancestors, you're right, because our ancestors were forever learning. They did not mind being humble. They did not mind being called out. They did not mind changing. That's what's wrong with you, new school. Don't never forget, without old school, you couldn't even afford to be new.